Hey gang, Richardson coming at you with lesson 1.2 on page 15 of your Math 8 book, Powers and Exponents. And our objective today is to write and evaluate expressions involving powers and exponents. We're going to start with a real world example, and then we're going to move in kind of the nitty gritty. All right, so Yogi decided to start saving money by putting a penny in his piggy bank and then doubling the amount he would save each week. Use the questions below to find out how much money Yogi will save in 8 weeks. All right, so let's look at this. We have 1 cent in week 0. That means that's the week that he started and he had that 1 penny saved. So he puts it in his piggy bank for a total savings of 1 cent. The next week he doubled it or multiplied by 2, ended up with 2 cents saved for the week. Add that to the 1 penny that was already in his piggy bank and he ends up with 3 cents total savings. Let's look at how the rest of it plays out. If we multiply by 2 for 2 cents, we're going to get 4 cents. Why is it not going away? There we go. Add that to the amount that's already in the bank and he will have total savings of 7 cents. Double week 2 to week 3, he will have 8 cents, a total savings of 15 cents. The 7 cents that was in there plus the 8 he just saved. Double the amount for week 4, so 8 times 2 is 16. Add that to the 15 cents already in there, he has a total savings of 31 cents. Double the amount from week 4 to week 5, we will have 32 cents saved that week. Add that on, and we will have 63 cents total in the piggy bank. Double the amount from week 5 to week 6, 64 cents. Add that to the amount that's already in the piggy bank at 63 cents and you will have $1.27. So let's talk about the math behind this. We doubled every single time. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2, and so on and so forth. So how many 2's are multiplied to find the total or to find the savings in week 4? Just this amount right here. Well, we did that 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So there are 4 2's being multiplied. Let's apply that to week 5. How many times did we do, how many 2's are multiplied for week 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are multiplied for week 5. So now let's apply that to week 8. I don't want to have to fill in a table every single time I do this. So I can use what we just did, which is actually using a power and exponent to figure this out. And we're going to look at what that looks like in a second. If we're going to save in week 8 and try to figure out how much money that is, we can multiply by 2 8 times. So 2 times 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 2. 8 2's all being multiplied together. That's going to give me a total in week 8 of $2.56 that he will need to save to add on to his total savings. Let's look at what the next question is asking us. It says continue the table to find when he will have enough to buy a pair of shoes for 80 bucks. So now we're looking at when. For the sake of time, guys, I'm going to unshow, or I guess undo or whatever, reveal all of the amounts so that you can see. I don't need to go through the times 2 times 2 times 2 any longer. So if we look at this completed table, when will he have enough money for a pair of shoes that's 80 bucks? We look in our table, $81.91 comes in week 12. You, for the sake of time, can fill in that last box. We've already talked about what we've done. If you really need to, you can fill it in. Go ahead and pause the video and fill this all in if it makes you feel better. All right, what we're really talking about here is powers and exponents. A power is basically repeated factors. So you see here there are 4 factors, 2, 2, 2, 2. Because the factors are all the same, that can be called the base. So the base is here, the 2, and the 4 is the exponent, and the exponent tells me how many times that base will be used as a factor. So this tells me that 2 is going to be multiplied together 4 times. You can read it this way. 3 to the first power is read in words 3 to the first power, and there's only one factor of 3. 3 to the second power is read 3 to the second power, or 3 squared, and there are 2 3's, 3 times 3, and so on. 3 to the third would be 3 times 3 times 3, and so on and so forth. Let's look at it in action and see if we can write some. Write each expression using exponents. I have -2 times -2 times -2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. I'm going to put my -2 in parentheses as my base. It is a repeated factor. How many times did I have it repeated? 3 times. So 3 becomes my exponent. Multiplied by 3 as my base. How many times was it repeated? It was repeated 4 times. Now, don't get me wrong. Guys, this is not 3 times 4. It's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3, 4 times. Let's look at example 2. How many A's do I have? I have 2 A's. So A as my base, squared as my exponent. How many B's do I have? There are 3 of them. Times B to the 3rd power. Now, one thing that you need to know, you can also write this smushed together. So A squared B to the 3rd. You can only smush them together without the multiplication sign when they are variables. I have to have the multiplication sign here. I don't have to here. Let's practice. Would you go ahead and pause the video, practice these on your own, and unpause when you're ready to see the answers. Go ahead and pause now. Okay, we're moving on. Let's check this out. 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. You should have written 1/2 in parentheses. It's okay if you didn't do that. Add it on now. Anytime you have a fraction that's being raised to a power, you have to put it in parentheses. And how many times did we have it? We had it 4 times. So your power is 4. In part B, you should have 4 to the 3rd times 5 squared. And in part C, you are going to have n squared m to the 3rd. It needs to be alphabetical. Your variables have to go in alphabetical order. It's just the proper way to write them. Okay, let's check out evaluating. Number 3, or example number 3 says, evaluate -2/3 in parentheses, notice how that fraction's in parentheses, to the 4th power. Evaluate, guys, means, it's basically a fancy word for solve. It means to find the value. So, -2/3 times -2/3 times -2/3, whoa, times -2/3. This, what I just did, would be considered showing my work. I'm writing out what I'm actually doing with the power. Then you're welcome to use your calculator to figure it out if you need to. -2, remember when you multiply fractions, multiply straight across the numerator and straight across the denominator. -2 times -2 times -2 times -2 is going to give me positive 16. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is going to still be positive 81. So my final answer is 16 over 81. Got it? Do these problems to find out. So go ahead and practice these on your own. Pause the video and we will talk about the answers in just a second. Okay, we are going to do 4 to the 4th. That's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, showing my work. And the answer to that would be 256. In part E, it's -2 to the 6th power. So -2 times -2, I guess I can write it out, times -2 times -2, whoops, negative sign, times -2 times -2. All right, so is that 6 of them? That sure is. -2 to the 6th power, you should end up with 64. And last but not least, 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5 is going to multiply straight across numerators, straight across denominators. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Again, you can use your calculator to do the math. I just want you to show what you did. All right, let's talk about example 4. The deck of a skateboard has an area of about 2 to the 5th power times 7 square inches. What is the area of the skateboard deck? We're going to simplify this out and write out what 2 to the 5th actually is. 2 to the 5th would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and then times 7. Simplify that out, group those 2's together, and we end up with 32 times 7, which is a total of 224. So 224 square inches is your final answer there. Let's look at this example. We'll do it together. A school basketball court has an area of 2 to the 3rd times 3 times 5 squared times 7 square feet. What is the area? So we are going to do, show our work, 2 times 2 times 2, because 2 to the third means I'm multiplying 2 3 times, times 3 times 5 times 5 times 7. Multiply all of those together, and I believe it's 4,200 square feet. Awesome. Area means square feet, so you have to have that correct label. Okay, let's look at evaluating expressions if we have variables in them. A squared plus B squared. Guys, we are going to plug and chug. Plug in. Anytime you see an A, instead of having an A there, you're going to put a 3. Anytime you see a B, you're going to put a 5. So in example 1, that would look like this. They've color coordinated it for us. So this would actually be 3 squared plus 5 to the 4th. And it tells us replace A with 3 and B with 5. Write it out and solve. Your final answer on this one would be 634. Again, that example is in the book, so is this one. A minus B in parentheses squared. We're going to replace the A and the B with 3 and 5. We are going to write it out. We're solving the parentheses first. That's order of operations that you should remember from 7th grade. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2 squared. And then we're going to negative 2 times negative 2, because that's what our power is telling us to do, and we would get 4. Let's look at some examples. I want you to try these on your own. Again, plug and chug, guys. Plug in the variable value and then solve. Go ahead and pause the video, and we will look at our answers in just a second. All right. Okay, gang, let's check out our answers. All right, C to the third is going to look like this. Negative, oh no, there we go. Negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4, and then D, so plus, and D, I'm going to use blue, is 9, so 9 times 9. This total answer, once I come up with my final answer, is going to be 17. Okay, I'm going to erase so I have some more room. In part I, you should have done negative 4 plus 9 in parentheses to the third power. Negative 4 plus 9 is 5 to the third power. That's 5 times 5 times 5. Final answer there, 125. Again, I'm going to erase so I have more room. Alrighty. Last one, D to the third. So that's going to look like this. I'm going to start way over here. 9 times 9 times 9 minus parentheses C squared, negative 4 times negative 4, and then minus 2. Once you solve all of this, your final answer is going to end up being 715. It's a big one. All right, here's what I want you to do. I need you to do this guided practice tonight. Finish it. Come in tomorrow. That's your ticket into class. We're starting this as our bell work. I want you to have answers, and we'll go over it, and then we'll move into our practice. Thanks, guys. See you on the flip side.